Welcome to Mtowntonight.com, the Memphis late night talk show, your source for entertainment and helpful information with your host, Mr. Darney. Mtowntonight.com.
Good evening to you, and welcome once again to another edition of Thursday Night Live. www.mtowntonight.com. I am your host, your M-Town guy, your hometown guy, Mr. Darney, coming to you live. Thursday night, it's been a rainy day, and it's been okay. It's been okay. But I've been dying to get here to talk to you tonight ever since from Tuesday night, Talking Tuesdays. I'm looking forward to each and every day after Tuesday. That's Tuesday and Wednesday and all day Thursday to get to you Thursday night to have a real in-depth conversation about topics that are important to us as people. And we've got some touchy stuff to talk about tonight. Some topics that kind of rub people the wrong way depending upon the content of the conversation. So we're going to sit back right now and relax a little bit and take a little bit of the day off, as I always do. Nice cocktail to kind of take the edge off of the day. And for those of you that had objectives and goals and objectives today that you accomplished, congratulations to you. And if you didn't get them all done today, Lord willing, you'll get that opportunity tomorrow. I salute you. Black Syndicate Entertainment dropping a little cool jazz sound on me, a little funk with it. Black Syndicate Entertainment, go to my website, www.mtowntonight.com. Look up their webpage on my website, Black Syndicate Entertainment. They will get you something hot to bump to. R&B, hip-hop, whatever you're looking for. Song development, hooks, jingles, concepts, production, track production. Feel free to get with those guys. They'll have you something bumping in no time, I guarantee you. So before we get together, let's take a couple of minutes. I'm going to step away for a brief moment, and I'll be right back with you, and we can get right into tonight's show. All right. Woo, once again, thank you to Black Syndicate. I like that groove. I think that's something funky right there. I think that's something that I'll keep rolling with. Shouts out to those guys for keeping me bumping. Get with them. Go to the website. First of all, as far as the evening, today is Thursday, August the 17th, 2017. And we're far over half of the year of 2017 gone, getting ready to go off into the last 4 months or so of the year here. And this is the time of the year where we supposedly and hopefully begin to make plans on how we're going to end this year off and keeping ourselves in a position where we can always try to stay ahead or maintain and make the decisions that we need to make for the Christmas holidays and all of these different things that are coming up that'll be here in a matter of time before you look around. We just got the kids back in school, and once we get them in school, time begins to really, really fly by. So let's try to look at this last part of the year as that last opportunity to kind of buckle down, get a grip on things, and try to end this year, this fiscal year, if you want to call it that, whatever, on a good note, financially, economically, spiritually, professionally, any way you want to look at it. Let's try to end this year. Let's start now Let's start now, trying to get ready for the end of the year so that we can have the back part of our year can be prosperous and be productive and safe and healthy. And let's pass that energy along to other people and try to get them to understand, hey, this is the time to really, really kind of buckle down. We've gone through half of the year. We've tipped over the scale of the mid part of the year of July. Here we are in August, basically halfway through August already. And we're getting ready to go off into that last 4 months of the year, the quad part of the year, the back four. So let's do what we can to stay on top of things and keep ourselves in good spirits with each other and send that energy around as best we can to others. I mean, I know it's tough out here. We all have relationships with people, family, friends, sometimes that are on rocky roads. I don't sit here as a man that does not and has not had issues with family and friends. Nothing that can't be undone or solved. And sometimes it takes a minute for things to heal. But at the end of the day, if you can come back around and, put egos in perspective and attitudes in check, for the most part, you can get back to square one. We can get back to square one. And it's a hard thing to do sometimes, but we as human beings, we have to do it. We have to do it. It's a pill we all have to swallow at some point in time. I've swallowed my fair share in dealing with associates and family of misunderstandings and different things because it's a part of life. We go through life and decisions are made, things are said sometimes in haste of not thinking, and we have to really, really assess ourselves and try to put ourselves in a position where we can monitor what we say before we say it. Think about what we say and do before we do these things. This is what we teach our children, or we try to teach our children, I'm sure, to think before you speak or make a move. Because once you say it, once you do it, it's kind of hard to put that milk back into the carton once it's spilled, as they used to say. So it's all about trying to be the best human being that you can be, no matter which way you look at it. That comment rides us off into the topic of discussion for this evening. Pardon me 1 second. Thank you. The topic of discussion is really what's going on right now. I mean, we've been seeing what's going on with in Charlottesville and in other little parts of the country with the rising, I won't say uprise, but the rising of white nationalist thinking and Aryan thought processes by certain hate groups and white hate groups, and it's taken its toll to the degree to where our president um, really doesn't want to take any form of responsibility for it, and quite frankly, he is a part of the spark that has started it. With his rhetoric campaign talk throughout his going for the presidency and his brash attitude in different town halls and different things, and throughout his presidency and throughout his life, quite frankly, throughout his career. Remember, this is a guy that has never had to curtail what he has had to say to people. He's always had the option, the opportunity, the pleasure to say what he wants to say and not have to concern himself about who it affects. This is a guy that likes to say, "You're fired." And quite frankly, since he's been in office, he's had that pleasure. He's had that opportunity to do that. That's a big thing to him. Now, for those Americans out there, and statistics say that 53%, I think Don Lemon said it on CNN a day or so ago with an interview with Michael Moore, that 53% of the white females voted for Donald Trump and 63% of the white males voted for him. In response to what David Duke said in a tweet, meaning that white America voted you in. Well, we know that to be true. Of course, there were some blacks and other ethnic groups that voted for you, but the majority, we would pretty much be able to say that white America voted you in. Well, I say this to you, white America. How do you feel about your decision? How do you feel about how your vote was cast, who it was casted for? See, there's a tendency to where, and they spoke on this again. They were talking about this. Michael Moore commented on this, that white Americans voted out of anger. They voted Donald in out of anger at the establishment for losing jobs and falling out of the middle class and things of that nature. So that was a vote out of anger. That was a vote out of to exhibit hate. If we get Donald in there, Donald is going to put this stuff back the way it's supposed to be, making America great again by having people disenfranchised and treated like third class, fourth class, fifth class citizens. That's his rendition of what making America great again is all about. If you just listen to him. And this man is in power. He's the leader of the free world. This man probably has the most checkered past, and I could be wrong, but I'm willing to go out and say, based on what we've seen from him over the past 20 years in doing business on television and being who he is, it probably would be safe to say that he has the worst checkered past of any president. Per my knowledge, we've never had a president that has as many baby mamas as Donald Trump. Donald Trump and his wife, per my research and others that I collaborate with, the most quote unquote uneducated couple to ever live in that house. The most unqualified couple to ever live in that house. We went from having the most qualified from the standpoint of education and schooling to Harvard graduates to, I think Donald, what did he go? He went to some form of military school. It's not important, but I mean, he did. And his wife, she's from another country, so who knows? I know one thing's for sure. She didn't come over here to be the first lady. And I'm pretty sure she gives him hell about that every day she talks to him. I did not want this job. I didn't want to have to be dealing with this type of crap, Donald. I just wanted to sit around and be cute all day. Now you've got me with some responsibility. I didn't want that. I didn't marry you for that. I married you so I could be cute and cool and shop all day and wave and say three or four word sentences. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. She didn't plan on having to be responsible. And he, quite frankly, in my professional opinion, I don't think he planned to win either. I think he did it as a big joke, just to be able to say he did it, expecting to lose, but it still would be something on his resume. And by him being who he is, he would find the good out of it for him. So some of that training that Donald has, I must say, I've had some of it as well with regard to professionalism and self-help literature. And Donald's read all of this stuff. And if you look at him, he's a textbook guy. He always has something positive to say, particularly about him and his situations. He will always find the ups out of any down that he may have. It'll never be a cloudy day for him in his head. And he exerts that attitude on everybody that's around him as best he can. If you can't deal with it, he'll weed you out. You'll get out. But that type of confidence training that he's probably had in his lifetime of being a salesman, a real estate developer, I'm sure he's had it. I'm sure his dad taught it to him. Executives learn these tactics. He's always something good. It's never negative. And even in the midst of the negative, the positive still stands out, no matter how small that positive may be. I understand that level of thinking. I know what he does. I see him do it. And it's working. And it works. Everybody with good common sense should know that the White House is in total chaos. We see it to the degree to where they don't even want to view their press conferences live anymore out of fear of something being said that they can't retract or they can't clean up. It's a hot ass mess. But this is what people wanted. This is what the majority of people wanted. This is what, as they say, white America wanted, based on the votes. So I'm asking, are you happy with your decision? How farther have you gotten since he's been in office? How much more have you gained? See, African Americans don't vote out of anger. We try not to make our decisions like that out of anger. We don't vote people in for the purpose of trying to make other people do bad, feel bad, be bad. And that's what you did with Donald Trump. You thought you would put him in there and he would set this damn thing right, put people back in their place, put our people back to work. And that's the lie he sold them. That's the lie they wanted to hear. That's the lie they wanted to believe. And they rolled with it. He sold them hook, line, and sinker. And he ticked at that side of white America, some white America. He ticked at that side of, hey, aren't you all really tired of all of this handout stuff? Aren't you just tired of just, why should we take care of these people? That's the mentality he brought back. We are being looked upon as if we're not being taken care of, the middle class. And all of this rhetoric going on, creating issues between countries, with countries, disrespecting countries on their own soil, verbally. This is who was voted in. This was who was voted in. This is who they voted in. And I say they, because I didn't, for certain. Nobody I know personally, professionally, voted them in. So we have the right to say something about it. Pathetic. Pathetic. He has done a pathetic job. They can't even get along together. They can't even work together. They can't even keep their stories straight. We've got so much disarray. And all of this is going on. Meanwhile, nothing is getting done. None of the promises that he talked about, that anybody talked about, is getting done. So when you've got these people that are in uproar about supporting him and his views, what have they benefited anybody? So those people that are protesting around here, true enough, you have the legal right to protest, but really? And I must be quite frank with you. I mean, I am not, I'm not a prejudiced man at all. I'm not a racist guy at all. First of all, let's clarify something. Black people can't be racist. Because racist people have the opportunity to take their prejudices that they have against people and use them against the people that they don't like. We don't have that power. We don't have the economic power to shut down and keep any particular people of color from having jobs, houses, cars, businesses. We don't have that power collectively. We don't have that power. So when people say that black people are racists, you're incorrect. We don't have the power to be that because respectfully, unfortunately as well, we don't have the collective power together to deny anybody of anything. We can't deny anybody housing. We don't own housing collectively like Europeans do, like whites do. And this is no down look upon whites because black people need to get theirs together. We need to get it together so that we can have power to provide first before we talk about taking anything from anybody. We've got to be able to provide housing, provide jobs. We work together to do that. That's what we need to do. So until that day comes, there's no way in the world we can be racist. And everybody has some form of prejudice against people, persons, places, things. So let's not play with words. These are people, unfortunately, for them, these are white Americans going against other white Americans, protesters about an ideal. And it got out of hand. And it's going to continue to get out of hand. Because this group of people feel that they've been cheated. This group of people know that they've been cheated. And we as African Americans, as an African American male, I say this. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And with respect to my people, regarding my people, we have to work together. We have to come together better than ever before. We have to. We don't have any choices. The choice is one. We have to work together. We have to come together. And when we collectively do that, it makes it easier to work with others. Not that you don't work with others, but it makes it easier. When you all are together as one unit, it's easier because you have the same mindset. It's easier to branch out and work with others to see what common goals and grounds that you all have. That's how you get progress. But this one-sided mentality, and it's not even a true one-sided mentality that we have collectively, we need to get it out of our heads. We see who's running the country, the mindset of who's running the country. And that's what's more powerful than the individual itself, because as that mindset gets to circulating even more, then you may have more people that are more inclined to try to all of a sudden come with these type of protests, white nationalist supremacist protests in a city near you. So we have to nip that in the bud. And we start first by understanding that, as we've always said, it's still here. Racism is still here. It's still here. All the marching, everything, it's still here. For those that have the economic wealth to come together to help fight it, I urge you, I beg you, let's do it. Those of us here on the grassroots level, we have to work together and come together, of all ethnic groups. Because we're going against the mindset. True enough, it's a certain group of people, a certain group of people. I don't condone all whites or condemn all whites. No, because all whites weren't out there. I don't condemn all white people for that mindset. I condemn those that show that mindset, that operate with that mindset. It's just like blacks. Hey, there's some blacks I'm not too fond of for reasons, as we all are. That doesn't mean I hate them. That just means for some reason or another, we haven't been able to get eye to eye. And maybe the opportunity for us to try to make that happen hasn't arrived yet. Doesn't mean that we have an on-site issue. It's called being able to work things out with each other. Sometimes time has to come in and help heal wounds. But when it comes down to dealing with this racism, you don't want me to have this. You think that you are better than me, therefore you should have more than me, and you should have little or nothing. No, we're not rolling with that. And we have to be evidently clear to those people that have that mindset. We can't do that. That's not going to be beneficial for the children. All of this is about the children, right? All of this fighting and scratching and screaming is about the betterment for the future for the children. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you say you're fighting for. It's supposed to be about the children, right? So they can have a better future. If that's the case, that's even more a reason why we need to work together. Take your egos out of it. Take your personalities out of it and realize this is for the children, the future of our children on this planet. We need to do what we can to work together. Let's come to the table and see eye to eye. To see if we can even see eye to eye. You've got to come to the table. And if we agree to disagree and step away from the table at that point, we truly tried. So we all need to look at this situation, look at our president, see where he's coming from. Don't get caught up in all of that bullshit, excuse my language, but the bullshit about all of the other stuff that's going around, who he's firing, who he doesn't like, what's his wife got on, what's his daughter's doing. Pay attention to him and what he's saying. what his brother, what his son-in-law is doing, what his son is doing. Listen to these people. Pay attention to their moves. Look at how we're being viewed around the world. So that mindset is not going to be beneficial for us Americans in this country. And if it runs rapid, it's going to create what we all know. We know what it would create. Race war. It's an ugly thing. I'm not talking about some shit on TV. Excuse my language. I'm talking about for real. And that's not what we really want. I would like to think that we want harmony. We don't need to die if it's not your time. All it's taking is working together, trying to come together and say, hey, treat these people with dignity and respect. We are still fighting for that. Just to be treated with the basics of dignity and respect. We've got to constantly fight for that. Wow. I go to the song that Jay-Z made that had everybody in uproar, the story of OJ. The premise of that song, no matter what you were, field nigga, house nigga, still a nigga. That is more prevalent than ever with what's going on today. No matter who you are, no matter what you have, you are what you are. To us. You are lower than us. We won't see it any other way. If you asked these people, what's their real issue with people of color? If you really asked them, and they and just narrowed it down and said, what is your problem with people of color? 90% of them couldn't tell you anything that made any damn sense. And the 10% that probably could try to articulate their answer to you probably would be so damn far in left field. They would be coming, none of it would be factual is what I'm getting at. They wouldn't have a reason. It's based on a false pretense to prop you up, to make you feel bigger and better. That's the funny damn part about it. You all are out here protesting, talking about your white rights or whatever the hell you're talking about. And if you can't make it and it's set up for you, all due respect, written by white men, laws were written by white men to establish this country. All due respect, per my knowledge, there were no black men present. And if they were, I guarantee you they had very little to do with the decision making, considering the time frame that this paperwork was done. So any white individual that feels that they are being held back by people of color, wow, you are really, really stretching it far. You are really stretching it far. I give people more credit than that, but I'm a realist also. There are people out there like that, blaming other people for nothing. Black people have suffered as a whole. Colored people, people of color, have suffered as a whole since they've been here. They've had to fight for everything since they've been here. They speaking just in conversation. I'm a part of that. They, we. Everything we've had to fight for. And just because we have a few selective, Jay-Z's and M. Jordans and so, doesn't mean that collectively everybody's doing okay. So when we hear you protest or go against what we have worked for or what we are fighting for to just try to have dignity and respect to do our own damn thing, you don't want us to have that either. We won't go for that. And no ethnic group should go for that. And when these type of issues that happen, like it did in I think that's Charlottesville, when that type of stuff goes on, man, let me tell you something. Think about the town that you're in. Think about where you are. Do you really want to do that? Is that worth it? Is that worth it? Hey, I'm not a guy to go against the grain on things that really. Give an example. Pardon me. Here in Memphis, we've got 2 statues of Nathan Bedford Forrest in the city of Memphis. I've been a native Memphian all my life. I've seen those statues since I was a kid. Nobody's really brought up those statues. All due respect to the 2 mayors that we had, very little to nothing was said or done about it on their watch. Collectively, does it hurt our people that those statues are standing there? Collectively, in spirit, I understand, because of what they mean and who they represent and so forth and who that individual was. But when it gets down to brass damn tacks, I don't care if you leave the statue there or not. Help out in a better way. Let's get our schools better. Let's make better decisions for our schools. Make it truly more efficient in our schools. We'll get to the damn statues later. Quite frankly, the statue shouldn't even be a concern. If the mayors didn't want it, all they had to do was move it and go to court about it like they do every damn thing else they do. Move the damn statue and say, hey, anybody that goes against that contests us moving this statue, file your documents against the city and we'll see you in court. That's what should have been done about it. Not all of this other bullshit walking around talking about they need to be this and that. It should have been gone. Take a bulldozer and pull them up and go like you do anything else, like you come and repo a person's car that's paying for it every damn day because they're 2 months behind. Snatch them up out of the ground and take them to the people that want them and love them and put them in their front yard. If you want them that bad, you all can share it throughout the week. So damn the damn statues. Let's focus on something more important here. Police brutality. The inability for young men, women of color to be stopped by the police and have a clear conscience of knowing that they'll ride away. And because they may be willing to stand their ground and say, no, officer, I was not going 55 in a 45. They don't look as being agitated or aggressive and have to be shot down. Let's deal with those issues. The statues, hey, I've never taken a picture in front of them. I'm not saying that they should stay. I'm saying it's not that big a damn deal. Get them down. If you want them down, take them down. The city should take them down anyway. Why are we going through all of this? Take them down and send them to the owner. Put him in his front yard. If he wants to fight you legally, let him take you to court. That's what it would be. Why are we going through all this crap about these statues all over the country? That's smokescreen crap. All due respect to those that are in protest, that are fighting against those people for those statues. I respect those people that are standing up and saying, hey, they need to come down. I dig that. I'm with that thought process. However, the bigger picture here is the system that you're fighting that's keeping them there. Let's fight them in another way. Let's come together and deal with them in another way, if that's what we're going to do. Black people, we need to come together. Hey, the statues have been there. I'm 46. The statues have been there 46 years, and I know for certain. At least my life. I didn't lose one deal in business because that statue was down there. I didn't lose one night's sleep. I know the history of it. I don't like it, but it's there. I know the history of the Lorraine Motel. I know Dr. King was killed there. I don't like it, but it's there. I know a lot of things about the city that I don't like, but it happened. I understand the history behind it. If those statues are of that much importance, then the mayor should remove them. No questions asked. Let the legal department deal with it. Pass it to them. I'm sure you could. Let them handle it. Case closed. Let's move on to bigger and better things. But as long as we're around here concerning ourselves with these people coming together, holding their hands up, screaming white power and all of this other stuff, man, let's not concern ourselves about it. Because those people, those select few right there, they're not a threat as one would make them seem. The media wants you to think they're not a bigger threat. You think about it, you walk around white Americans every day. They're not like that. Most white Americans are going home trying to make a living just like we all are. They don't want any trouble just like we don't want any trouble. And they've heard this rhetoric for the most part. They've heard it more than we have because they're white. So they've got friends that are open around them, I'm sure. And some of them have still said, hey, well, I don't think that way, my man. I'm not ignorant to think that all whites sit back and listen to supremacists, white supremacists, and say, hey, I'm with that. I'm not that ignorant. I know better than that. And for those that want to have that type of mindset and be of a racist mindset, well, then they eventually weed themselves out and make themselves known. And good, genuine people stay away from them, regardless of the color. They stay away from them. You can't progress in life dealing with them. You can't have a productive life dealing with that type of individual. Think about it. How can you? You cut off a whole race of people because of this individual's thinking. He's got or she's got your thinking like theirs. Now you've cut off a whole group of people, supposedly, because of that type of thinking. All of the benefits that culture can bring you. And everything else. Which would be a sin against mankind itself. You choose to cut off a whole race of people? Who in the hell are you? Who died and made you the number one race? We didn't get that email. So we've got to do better. Our president, quite frankly, with the mindset that he has, with the mindset he has, how can we do better? If he doesn't make a 180-degree change and then make another 180-degree change, because he's not going to change in 360 degrees at one time. He's going to have to change a little bit and then change some more. Because remember, he's this type of guy that hadn't had to do anything like what he's doing. Being told what to say, what not to say, how to stand, how not to stand. He's not used to that. So he's having to make the adjustments. And even in making the adjustments, he's still himself. This guy tweets. It just mind boggles me that we have a president that tweets as much as he does. Obama tweeted, sure. But Obama's tweets were different. Obama's tweets is when we got those tweets, at least we looked at them, we read them. Maybe there was something he said. I'm sure there was something he said meaningful. But it was what it was. When Donald tweets, oh my God, what did he say now? Who did what? You could have said that in the press conference. Is that what you put out to the world? You tweeted that out? Really? Wow. This is who you all put in office. For what? To make it bad on people of color? To put this country in a position economically, financially in the world back on top again? Well, how could you do that putting this guy in office when this guy's filed bankruptcy at least 3 times with his own businesses? He's still in business. He's still a billionaire per se. We don't know. We hadn't seen his tax return. Same guy that was calling for somebody else's birth certificate. But he's filed bankruptcy 3 or 4 times. How is he going to run the country? He never told us how he would do it. He never gave us numbers on that. He played around with words and poked buttons on people. Emotional buttons, racist buttons. Yeah, and get people crunk. Well, they couldn't think about the decision they were getting ready to make. And that's what happened. And this is the result of it. And this is not even within, this is the first year. The first 8 months of his presidency. And damn, you would think if you had been from another planet to come here and hear all about what's going on with this president, you would think that he's been in term at least 2 or 3 years or a term. Not a brand new president. No. So our country's in a bad spot. And we as Americans, Black Americans, white Americans, Latino Americans, everybody, we have got to find the common decency in each other. And for those of you people out there that are spewing hate against another group of people, understand something. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what you believe in. One thing is for certain. You put in and get out the same. What you putting out there is what you're going to get back. So it will be mindful to you and anybody out there that feels that they need to have hatred in their heart for another group of people, quite frankly, for no damn reason at all, other than they're a different shade of color. You need to think about your decision making. Don't let this type of mindset drive you to hell, whether it be in the ground or in your mind. And it may not just affect you. It may affect your generations of family members. You may make decisions that are not good for you in the long run. And that's what we have to look at. For you people out here that are taking up these false fights of different things, especially racism and putting a group of people, putting black people or people of color below you, we will not allow that. For damn, we've come too far for that. So let's not start that type of behavior. Let's not get off into that. Everybody has a lot to lose. There's a no win there. We don't want that. Nobody wants that. That's why nuclear war has never started. Because nobody wants to be obliterated. Nobody wants to be in a position where they can never recover. Oh, everybody loves the tough talk, but at the end of the day, the number one rule is self-preservation. So nobody wants to die, especially for nothing. And racism is dying over nothing. You die over racism, meaning that you're trying to exert your thought process and your dislikes on a group of people and also keep them handicapped. So that's what racism is. Racism is when you can take your prejudices against a group of people and use them against them to keep them down. That's racism. I've been hearing all these different definitions of racism. I don't know where you get it from. Racism, I'll say again, is when you can take your dislikes about a group of people, use them against them, and keep them in a handicapped state where they can't progress or can only progress so much, excuse me. And I'll say again, people of color, we can't do that because we don't collectively own things that would allow us to do such. That needs to change. We'll deal with the statues later. All due respect to those people that are protesting those statues not being removed. I want them removed too. They should have been removed a long time ago. And they should have been removed with very little problem. It's just a damn statue. It's just a damn statue. Penn State got rid of Joe Paterno's statue, from what I was told and research, disengraved his name out of the stone, took his name off the record books and everything. No problem. Why do we have to go through this? How would they like it if I took a statue and made a statue of Nat Turner and just put it in the middle of a highly populated white area and have at the bottom what Nat Turner did? How would that go over? I don't think that would go over well. Think about that one. As Thursday nights, is always a pleasure to come to you and talk about things that matter. Bottom line of this discussion, racism helps no one. For those that can be racist, I say to you, it's not in your best interest. And for those of you that are in the mindset that feel that people of color can show that type of racism, we can't do that. Hell, we can't even be reverse racism to each other. We can't even provide each other jobs, for that matter. And all of that needs to change. Everything that we talked about tonight needs to change. We need to change the way that we think. We need to start being more caring about each other as people. With all of the stuff that's going on in the world, what else do we need to be concerned about? As they say, there's enough money to go around. If we help each other out and help each other share some ideas, some concepts, there's no telling what we can do as a people. I say to my people, black, first and foremost, I love you. I always have and I always will. But we got a big job to do on self. And the first place you have to start, as always, is in the mirror. As I do every day, I wake up to be as best as I can be at any time, no matter what the time may be, because that's my job. Mtowntonight.com, www.mtowntonight. We salute you and we say to you, always remember, learn more so that you can do more, and you can be better so you can do better. Until next time, we'll say good night to you.